Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are really digging into something specific, kind of a mission, actually. We're peeling back the layers on the second collapse of Bennifer 2.0, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. And look, we're not here for the usual tabloid stuff. We've got the source material, Ben Affleck's big March 2025 interview in GQ, all the surrounding reports, even that documentary they made. We want to understand the real why behind this split.
Yeah, the fundamental reason it fell apart again.
And what really jumped out, I think, was the lack of, well, the expected drama. It wasn't some huge betrayal, no massive Hollywood scandal.
Yeah.
The confession that finally came out was described as more brutal than anyone expected, not because of fireworks, but because it was about something internal.
Like realizing horribly that the person you love requires things you fundamentally cannot give. Yeah, it points to a failure of, well, maybe seeing reality clearly.
Self-deception.
Exactly, self-deception. And that's the central question, isn't it? The thing we really need to unpack for you. How could a couple with 20 years apart, 2 whole decades, to grow, change, live whole other lives.
Marry other people, have kids.
Right. And then they get back together and somehow make the exact same mistake again. It's kind of mind-boggling. So our mission today is to find that core incompatibility, the thing that just wouldn't budge for either of them.
Okay, so let's set the scene really quickly. Context matters here.
Absolutely. So Bennifer 1.0, the first time around, that was back in 2002. They got engaged. They were the couple everywhere.
Couldn't escape them.
You really couldn't. And by 2004, it was over. And the reason given back then very clearly was the media pressure. It was destroyed by the pressure of constant media attention. That was the official line.
And then came the 17-year gap. Huge lives lived separately. Ben married Jennifer Garner. J.Lo married Mark Anthony. Kids for both. Public divorces for both.
A lot of life happened.
Then, 2021, they reconnect. And the story they sold us, I mean, it was powerful, right? True love finds a way. They'd learned, they'd matured.
The fairy tale ending, chapter 2. They got married quickly, Vegas in July 2022, then the big Georgia wedding in August.
And that narrative, well, it lasted almost exactly 2 years. Jennifer filed for divorce August 20, 2024, right around the anniversary of that Georgia ceremony.
But here's a detail we pulled out that's really telling. The separation date listed in the filing, April 26, 2024.
Wow, so months earlier.
Months. It means the marriage effectively crashed and burned within about 20 months. The realization hit early, but it took another 4 months of, denial, agonizing. Before the official papers were filed, it suggests things went wrong fast.
Okay, so fast forward again. Ben Affleck finally breaks his silence. March 2025, the GQ interview. Everyone's braced for fireworks, right? Infidelity, huge fights.
The usual celebrity divorce script.
Exactly. But he immediately pours cold water on it. He says, the truth is, and this is the quote, much more quotidian than probably people would believe or would be interesting.
Quotidian. Ordinary. Mundane. He's trying to frame it like, just boring Hollywood stuff. Schedules, work, maybe money. The easy outs.
But hang on. That doesn't quite track, does it? If it was just quotidian stuff like scheduling conflicts, why file for divorce barely 2 years into this epic, decades-in-the-making reunion? Why not just, work around it?
Right. It feels thin. It feels like quotidian might be a smokescreen for something, harder to talk about.
That's what you're suggesting, that the mundane explanation is hiding something more fundamental.
I think so. Because look what happened when the interviewer pressed him for specifics. He clammed up. He said the real reason he wouldn't share it because it was sort of embarrassing and feels vulnerable.
Okay, that's the key. Embarrassing, vulnerable. This is Ben Affleck. He's talked openly on record about addiction, mental health, his divorce from Jennifer Garner. Really personal, difficult stuff.
He has put his deepest struggles out there for public consumption.
So why would simple incompatibility, boring stuff be embarrassing? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Unless
the embarrassment isn't about what ended the marriage, but about the fact that he let it happen again. The shame isn't in the failure. Maybe it's in his own judgment, his ego.
Oh, okay. The humiliation of trying the exact same experiment twice and getting the exact same result for the exact same reasons he probably knew about all along.
Precisely. And this is where the sources really crystallize it with that metaphor, the ship captain metaphor.
Right, the ship captain. Let's break that down. You don't marry a ship's captain and then say, well, I don't like going out in the water.
Okay, so if Jennifer Lopez is the ship captain, what does that represent?
It means her whole life, her career, her brand, her art, as she calls it. It's built on being public. Sharing her life, including her relationships, is fundamental to who she is. That's her ocean, the place she operates.
Exactly. And Ben's admission, buried in that interview and the surrounding reports, is that he knew this. He wasn't naive. He knew she lived her life publicly, shared everything with fans, turned relationships into content. He married her anyway.
Thinking what? That his love could change that. Or that he could handle it this time.
Maybe both. But the core point is, he admits he knew the reality. So the failure in his framing isn't JLo's for being who she is, the ship captain navigating her public ocean. The failure he finds embarrassing is his inability or unwillingness to accept the reality he consciously chose. He jumped in the water knowing he hated being out at sea.
And this is where it gets just fascinating, because we don't just have his words after the fact. We have that documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told. It came out February 2024. Supposedly a celebration.
Yeah, supposed to be the triumphant story of their reunion, but instead, reports say it basically documented a marriage already collapsing.
Wow.
It wasn't the thing that broke them, apparently, but it became the stage where their core fundamental conflict was playing out in real time for everyone to see.
And the details from the sources watching it, they're pretty stark. Jennifer keeps saying things like she's making their relationship the center of her art. She wants to share it all.
She's the ship captain, inviting everyone onto the bridge.
Right. But then you watch Ben, and the sources describe him as looking visibly uncomfortable. His face gets tight. His body language just screams misery whenever the conversation turns to making your private life into public content.
It's Bennifer 1.0 all over again, isn't it? The exact same fault line. He even says in the documentary, quote, "One of the things I don't want is a relationship on social media."
And yet, there he is,
Yeah.
starring in a documentary about their relationship designed to generate buzz, which is essentially social media fuel.
He tried to explain it away, didn't he? Saying his temperament is just more reserved and private than hers, and that he only did the documentary to support Jennifer.
Which sounds supportive on the surface, but knowing what we know now,
Yeah.
it sounds more like passive agreement.
Right.
Going along with something he fundamentally disliked to avoid conflict, maybe?
It really fits that pattern,
Ugh.
supporting her need for public expression while it seems internally resenting every moment, as one source put it. That's a recipe for disaster.
Classic self-sabotage.
And he kind of confirmed how central this issue was by denying it too strongly. He made a point of saying the documentary wasn't the cause of some major fracture.
Which nobody really thought it was, but
But by needing to say that, he implicitly confirmed that the documentary revealed the fracture that was already there. It showed the world, and maybe forced him to finally admit that Jennifer needs a public partnership, and he deeply needs privacy and boundaries. They require opposite things.
and if we tie this back to those deeper patterns, the psychological stuff you found in the research, it all starts to click into place, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This wasn't just a simple mismatch. It was about how Ben handles conflict, or rather, how he doesn't.
Exactly. It's kind of chilling, actually. Go way back, 25 years to a 1999 Playboy interview. This is long before JLo, round one. He talked about developing what he called passive-aggressive rage.
Wow, what did he mean by that?
He described staying quiet in relationships when he was unhappy. Not confronting things, not leaving, just simmering. He admitted, "I end up wanting to be out of the relationship," but he couldn't really articulate or deal with the unhappiness leading up to that point.
Okay, connect the dots. That 1999 quote sounds like a blueprint for Bennifer 2.0. He hated the documentary stuff. He disliked the public displays. He walked the red carpets looking miserable.
All while internally resenting every moment, building up that passive-aggressive rage until he just couldn't take it anymore and had to physically separate in April 2024.
So the split wasn't a sudden implosion. It was the final stage of a slow burn he'd been feeding for almost 2 years.
It seems that way. And crucially, that slow burn only ended after he apparently tried and failed to change Jennifer. Sources close to them really hammered this home. Their needs were just fundamentally opposed.
Jennifer Lopez, the sources said, wanted all-consuming devotion, a partner who was fully present and would participate in her whole public world, her art.
She needed someone to captain the ship alongside her enthusiastically.
And Ben, the guy who married the ship captain but hates the water. He wanted boundaries. He wanted to support her, sure, but from a distance. He wanted a private, contained Jennifer when they were off duty.
Which is just not who she is. And here's maybe the most telling detail from the sources. Ben apparently asked Jennifer multiple times to scale back her public sharing.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
It's everything, isn't it? Asking Jennifer Lopez to stop sharing her life publicly is, as one report bluntly put it, like asking the sun not to shine. It's her core identity.
So he knew who she was, he knew what the deal was, he married her anyway, and then he tried to get her to fundamentally change the thing that makes her her.
That seems to be the crux of it. He wasn't just trying to handle the water, he was trying to tell the ship captain to stay in port.
So let's try translating that embarrassing confession one last time with all this context. It's not just, oops, I thought I could handle who she is and I was wrong. It's deeper.
It sounds more like, I thought I could handle who she is, and maybe I was arrogant enough to think I could subtly change her into someone more compatible with my needs. And the total failure of that, twice. That's the profound ego check. That's the vulnerability and shame he couldn't quite voice to GQ.
The self-deception wasn't just about his own tolerance. It was about his perceived ability to influence her core nature.
Exactly. It's the difference between, oh, well, we weren't compatible, which is sad but happens, and my judgment was fundamentally flawed twice because I refused to accept reality. That hits different.
So that 2-year period of denial finally collapsed, leading to the divorce finalized in January 2025. Reports say it was a clean split financially. They divided up the huge $68 million mansion. No prenup apparently involved, or at least not contested. They kept things looking amicable on the surface.
But even their post-divorce actions kind of highlight the ongoing difference, don't they? Jennifer is doing exactly what you'd expect. Processing the pain through her art, sharing her journey publicly, being the ship captain navigating stormy seas.
Yeah, turning heartbreak into content. It's her brand.
While Ben is doing interviews, emphasizing respect, normality, privacy, trying to contain the narrative, keep things quiet, still wanting those boundaries.
Which brings us right to the end, and that final lingering thought for you, our listeners. It connects right back to this whole theme of self-deception and repeating patterns.
If the massive lesson here, the one Ben seemingly learned the hard way twice, is that you can love someone deeply, but still be fundamentally wrong for each other, has the lesson actually stuck?
Because reports are already starting to bubble up. Whispers that Ben has been reaching out to Jennifer again recently, just maintaining contact, keeping that line open.
So the question becomes,
If he's already making contact again, has he truly